I get a lot of questions about Rhogam. And up until now, I haven't really addressed it on the podcast. So I thought today would be a good time to give you the basics of Rhogam, what it's for, why you need it, who needs it, so that you can know for yourself whether this is a subject that you need to learn more about to make a good informed decision. Let's go. So we know quite well that the medicalized model of maternity care causes everything to be medicalized. So sometimes it's kind of hard to weed through where things are offered and what are they for our good, or are they just one more intervention that they're just going to throw at us no matter what? Are we better off without them? Do we really need them? It's hard to figure it out sometimes. It can be easy because of that. It can be easy to throw the baby out with the bathwater, if you know what I mean, because we know pregnancy is a normal thing. And so it's easy to think that we just need to say no to everything. I'm normal. Pregnancy is normal. I don't need any of these interventions. And believe me, I know. I was the one who said that if I gave birth in the hospital, I was going to wedge a chair underneath the door so nobody could come in and mess with me and throw off the labor and all that stuff. And so I didn't have to argue with anybody about how much I didn't need the things that they wanted to do to me. I totally get it. But because of that, it is so easy to think that everything is not needed. And I will agree, most things aren't. But Rhogam, is it one of those things? We need to find out. We really need to dig into this to see, is this something that you need or is it something that you can pass on? So I want to dig into that with you today. But first, we need to back up, okay? Despite what the world tells us, babies in our bellies are their own complete person. Those babies are not you. They are growing in you, but they are not you. And they have their own blood supply. Their blood should never mix with your blood when everything is normal. The placenta actually keeps it separate. They get very close to each other, but there are membranes separating them. So your blood and baby's blood ideally don't ever actually touch each other. It's hard to kind of fathom that, but it's the truth. However, sometimes things can happen that could potentially lead to the blood of your baby and your blood mixing. And remember, I said we don't have the same blood, and that is where the problem can come in. You know, if you need a blood transfusion these days, your blood is typed and cross-matched to be sure that the blood that you receive matches yours as perfectly as possible. Or at the very least, they want to make sure that whatever blood that you receive doesn't have any proteins or any blood types that can lead you to having a bad reaction. So the same concept lies in growing a baby inside of you and your blood types if they should mix. So normally if you get blood, you're typed and crossed to make sure you're getting the exact right thing. But in this case, you can't choose what your baby's blood type is going to be. And if your baby's blood type is one that's going to cause a sort of an allergic reaction in your body, then that can be a problem. But let's look into why that is. So the blood types are A, B, AB, and O. And each of those types is either Rh negative, rhesus negative, or Rh positive, rhesus positive. I'm just going to call it Rh from this point forward. We're not going to get into all the different physiology and anatomy and all the different things. It's a little too deep for this podcast, but just if you want to learn more about it, there's a lot you can learn. And I've got a book that I'll tell you about here in a minute that's going to teach you all you want to know. The Rh part, that Rh positive or Rh negative, is kind of like a protein. If your blood type is A positive, B positive, AB positive, or O positive, then you have that protein, that Rh protein, on your blood cells, okay? That means that your body is used to having the Rh factor present in your body. It's already used to it because it's already on all of your blood cells. So if your body sees another blood type that has that Rh positive factor, no big deal. Your body's used to it, okay? It's not going to matter. It's not going to mount a response because it is the same as you are. However, if you do not have that Rh factor, then you are A negative, B negative, AB negative, or O negative. I feel like I'm repeating myself because I keep saying the same letters, but I just want to try to make it very clear for you. If you have one of those blood types, and if you have a baby that is Rh positive, so your baby is either A positive, B positive, AB positive, or O positive, and for some reason your blood ends up mixing together, you get some of the baby's blood into your bloodstream, then comes the problem. But here's the catch. The problem is actually not for this pregnancy or the one where that happens. When your body sees this Rh factor in your blood, if you don't already have it, if your blood type is negative, you don't have that Rh factor, and now your body is seeing it, it recognizes that it's foreign and it basically starts to mount an immune response. It's the same kind of way that, like, when your body sees, the flu or a bacteria or any sickness that we encounter in our world, when our immune system sees it, it identifies it and says, hey, that's not supposed to be here. We need to figure out what this is. So next time it comes in, we can make sure that we get rid of it quick. Okay. And that's basically what your body does in response to that Rh positive blood type. Okay. It's not a big deal right now for you or for your baby because this is all happening, but the current baby isn't affected, especially if that mixing happens at birth because baby's already out by this point. Baby's not going to be impacted. Okay, it takes a while for these antibodies to develop, so it's not going to impact your current baby. But over time, your body makes antibodies to that Rh factor so that next time it sees them, it recognizes them faster and it knows, hey, this is an invader and we need to work on getting rid of it. But you probably see where I'm going with this, right? What if you get pregnant again and your baby is Rh positive? Now, your body might see that baby as an invader. If your body became sensitized, and I say if, because not everybody is, only about 1 in 8 or so actually are sensitized. So if you are sensitized from that prior pregnancy, because that Rh positive baby's blood mixed with yours and caused this response, then your future baby who is Rh positive can have some really serious problems. Okay. Again, not every mom is going to be sensitized if the blood mixes, and not every baby is going to have a problem if mom is sensitized. But the problem is you don't know if you're one of those 8, and you don't know if your baby's going to be the one that is paying the price, basically. So this is all a lot of layers of potential complication. Let's flesh it out a little bit more, okay? I'm not going to go into all the different things that can happen to your baby. Suffice it to say that they're pretty serious. Most of them, there's treatment available now, but it will automatically put you into a high-risk category to where if you're wanting to be at home and, have a natural birth, that's really, really going to be impacted for that future child. It's also a lot of invasion. It's also a lot of intervention. It's like I said, it's invasive. We want to avoid those things if we can, but everything is risk benefit. We have to weigh it. All right, so let's talk about what is common practice right now that you're going to see in your midwifery practice or your doctor that you're going to for your pregnancy. Common practice right now is that it is recommended, if you are Rh negative, that you receive what's called Rhogam at 28 weeks and at birth. Let me clarify. Rhogam is a shot that you can be given that will potentially keep you from mounting that sensitization response. Okay, so if you are Rh negative and your baby is Rh positive and your blood mixes and you start to respond to that, this Rhogam keeps it from happening. Okay, but the problem with that for many people is that Rhogam is a blood product. It comes from pooled donated blood. And because of that, especially given the current concerns for the blood supply that many of you are probably a little concerned about if you've been following kind of all the things that have happened since the C word came into the world. A lot of people really don't want to have blood products put into them. And so there's the problem. That's where some of the pushback has arisen, because we don't want to be getting this if we don't have to. Most people don't want to get it if they don't have to. If they're thinking this through and they're not just going along with everything that's recommended, they're starting to say, hey, wait, do I really need this? Current practice, again, is that you get it at 28 weeks, no matter what. And then you get it at birth or after birth if your baby is Rh positive, because once your baby is born, the baby's blood type can be tested. And once it's tested, if we find out that the baby's positive and you're negative, then Rhogam is again given in most cases. Okay, so when is Rhogam truly needed? Some of this is going to have to be left up to you and you have to decide. But I want to give you, theoretically speaking, in practice, when is it truly needed? If you are Rh negative and your baby is Rh positive, that is the only time you actually need Rhogam. Even at 28 weeks, if you were to decide that, if your baby is Rh positive and you're Rh negative, that's the only situation where Rhogam is needed. The problem is at 28 weeks, unless you have had some advanced genetic testing, you don't know yet if your baby is Rh positive. How can you, as an Rh mother, Rh negative mother, have an Rh positive baby? Well, if you are Rh negative and your husband is Rh negative, and you guys are monogamous as a Christian married couple should be, then there is no chance that your baby can be Rh positive. So if you don't know your husband's blood type, might be a good time to go find out. Because if he's A positive, A negative, B negative, AB negative, or O negative, and you are one of those as well, you guys are not going to make an Rh positive baby. You don't have to worry about Rhogam anymore. However, if you are Rh negative and your husband is Rh positive, then there is a chance that your baby will be Rh positive, and that's when you might need Rhogam. At birth, once the placenta separates, that is when there's the biggest chance that blood can get mixed. Okay, so that's why some people think you really don't need it at 28 weeks, because unless you've had something traumatic happen, there's no reason to believe that the blood has mixed at this point. But at birth, when that placenta is pulling away and now we've got the membranes, kind of the blood on one side and the blood on the other side could potentially mix, that's when the worry comes in. And you often won't know if that mixing has happened. And by the time you might know, it's really too late for Rhogam to work. I'm not going to go into exactly how the sensitization works, because again, that's kind of deeper than most people care to know. But if you're one of the ones that really wants to dig in, really wants to understand this deeper, I want to show you a book that I'm going to have in the show notes as well that I highly, highly recommend. It is really the only book I've seen out there on the subject, but it's excellent. It's called Anti-D Explained. And I know it might be a little bit blurry and it might be backwards depending on how my camera acts, but it's called Anti-D Explained. It's by Dr. Sarah Wickham, and she's from the UK, and anti-D is what they call it in the UK. So it means the same thing, it's just different terminology. And this book is so highly researched and so well put together that you're going to walk away with more knowledge than you ever thought you would have. It's actually not that long. It's 149 pages. It's very digestible. It's written to lay people, not medical people. So it's not like written in medicalese, so you can understand it, but it's got tons and tons of research in it. She explains everything very thoroughly. So if you want to know more about how Rhogam actually works, that's the place you need to go. But suffice it to say, there is a window of time when Rhogam works and when it won't work anymore. And in that window is when you need to receive the Rhogam. I mentioned before again that Rhogam is commonly given at 28 weeks as well as at birth. But if you get Rhogam at 28 weeks and your baby is actually Rh negative, or there's been no blood mixing, you're actually getting it for no reason. There's no benefit to it. So that's where this issue comes in about, do I even need to be exposing myself to these risks? There are prenatal tests now to where you can usually figure out your baby's blood type. So if you are one of the people who is Rh negative and you would like to know what your baby's blood type is so you can make a better decision, that is definitely reasonable. But just understand that also with those genetic tests come a lot of other things that they're testing for. And remember, in past episodes, we've talked about that sometimes when you find things out that maybe you didn't want to know, or maybe they're false positives, then you can walk yourself into lots of anxiety and lots of stress that you're now going to have to carry through the rest of the pregnancy. So you've got to really, really do some deep thought on this, and you've really got to weigh what's best for you, what you're okay with knowing, what you want to know, what you don't want to know, because you can't, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, to my knowledge, I don't think there's a report that's only going to give you the blood type. I believe they all kind of are a package deal. These are the same types of things that tell you whether your baby's a boy or a girl before an ultrasound. The ones that can tell it from your blood. And don't ask me to explain to you how that's even possible when their blood's not in there yet. It just is. I've studied it. I just can't remember it right now. But at any rate, suffice it to say, you can usually find out baby's blood type ahead of time if you want to. Beyond that, if you don't want to do that, you can find out the baby's blood type after birth, either from a cord blood draw, meaning they stick a needle into the umbilical cord and take some of the baby's blood, because remember, the blood that's inside of the placenta is the baby's blood. So they'll take a little bit of that, send it to the lab, and find out the baby's blood type that way. Or if for some reason they can't get enough blood, or they forget and they don't get it out of the cord, you can also prick the baby's heel and take a little small blood sample, send that to the lab, and get the same results. And then at that point, you can make the decision whether you want to receive it, because if your baby is positive, you're going to know it at that point, or if your baby's negative, you're going to know it at that point. Okay? Then you can decide for sure, do you want to get this Rhogam, or do you not? But while you do know the blood type at this point, you still don't know if your blood is mixed. And even if your blood is mixed, you don't know if you're the one that's going to have the sensitization reaction. Okay? So what do you need to consider as you're making this decision? Well, first you need to think about, do you plan on having more children? And even if you don't plan on having more, are you still in your childbearing years to where it could happen? Because if you do not plan on having any more children, for sure, you know you're not going to have any more, then this isn't an issue. It doesn't matter if you get sensitized to that Rh positive blood, because you're not going to have any more babies in there that your body could potentially recognize as foreign and attack. Okay? So if this is your last child for sure, well, maybe you don't need this. You also have to think about, what are the risks of receiving the blood product, and how do those risks weigh into your health, and then balance that against a potential future baby's health. It's a lot, I know, because you don't want to be selfish, and yet there's an issue here. There's a potential risk that you're taking for a baby that may not ever exist. It's a hard call. So what do I recommend? Well, y'all know this. Y'all know that I'm not in the recommendation business. I'm in the business of giving you the information so you can make the decisions yourself. And this is no different. I'm giving you the information. At the end of the day, you have to own the information and you have to decide what is best for you. But if it's me, what am I doing? Okay. Well, to start, let me say I'm O positive, so I didn't have to deal with this issue in my own pregnancy. So I can only tell you theoretically, and honestly, you can never really truly know what you're going to do theoretically unless you're in that actual position, and I can't be in that position. I don't have Rh negative blood. In addition, all of my pregnancies happened before that C word came into our world, which created all these potential issues that many of us are concerned about with the blood supply. So just to be fair, throwing those two things in, because everything I'm going to tell you from this point forward is just what I think I would do. Okay. If I was Rh negative, unless I had known trauma, meaning maybe I fell and hit my belly, maybe I had a wreck and there was impact on my belly, unless there was some reason for me to believe that there was a chance for mixing of our blood, I don't think I would ever take Rhogam at 28 weeks because there's just not enough reason to get it at that point, in my opinion, for me. But after birth, if my baby was found to be Rh positive and I'm Rh negative, and I know I'm still in my childbearing years with a chance of more children, I probably would decide to get it because the risks to me don't outweigh the benefits to my future babies, in my opinion. Again, this is just my opinion, how I see it. This is one of those weird situations where the risk incurred isn't for the benefit of the ones incurring the risk, but for the benefit of a human that might or might not ever even be conceived. So it's a totally different conversation than pretty much any other risk benefit analysis that you'll ever go through. But I hope that what I've shared with you has at least given you the information to decide well. I do talk about this more in my complete online Christian childbirth education course. And by the way, it's on sale right now as part of my effort to help people be prepared for all those what ifs that could cause you to give birth naturally, even if you didn't plan to. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, go to go.yourbirthgodsway.com/CEC, which is childbirth education course, CEC. And then use code Helene, HELENE, in the summary box at the bottom of the page to get 10% off of the entire course. It's a complex, comprehensive course that includes everything you're going to need for your pregnancy, plus monthly question and answer sessions with me. So it's got everything, everything. In addition, also check out Sarah Wickham's book that I told you about called Anti-D Explained. It'll be in the show notes. A link will be in the show notes to learn even more. This book is the best resource that I have seen. And while it will not give you the answer, because she's very much like me in that she says, this is your decision. This is not her decision. She's just giving you the information. So understand that nothing is going to tell you what you need to do. You've got to decide that on your own. It's going to give you a comprehensive understanding, though, of the research and the technology that has made Rhogam possible, so you can understand how it works in your body, the process it undergoes to make this sensitization not happen, and all that good stuff. So the link for that, again, is in the show notes, or you can just go to go.yourbirthgodsway.com/resources, especially if you're watching on YouTube. Usually the links don't really cross over. So just go to go.yourbirthgodsway.com/resources, and the link is in there. I hope you've learned a lot here. I hope this has helped you if you're an Rh negative mama, or maybe you know Rh negative mamas, or maybe you're a doula that helps Rh negative mamas make decisions. I hope this information has helped you. Let me know what you think down in the comments or shoot me an email, and I'll look forward to seeing you right back here next week.